Chapter 31. Go Deeper Than the Surface Circus. As Sir Beast and I claimed our unique set of keys, which had access and control over the mind, something unbelievable happened in the sky. All the vast variety of birds transformed into living women who rode upon brooms as they flew on by. They landed in a ravine, and once we got close, we saw they descended near a multicolored tent. It looked like the space could hold thousands of people, but it seemed to be the remains of an outdated circus. What's that sound?
The Surface Circus. If we are to go beyond opposites, you can't always be seen as the good one, the hero, the holy one, or the saint. But at a certain point, in a world filled with manipulation and lies, they'll call the brave souls a beast or a villain because they're willing to tell the truth when the lies are preferred and embraced,
said Shruti. Near the circus tent, there was a silver siren that called out to anyone nearby. My intuition wanted to run, but still we were so curious about those women who descended from the sky.
I need you to go in,
said Shruti. But why? I don't want to enter into the Surface Circus.
You must. The truth needs to be revealed. Otherwise, everyone in the Surface Circus is bound for a life of illusions and madness, said
Shruti. But what's in there?
It's filled with liars, cheaters, manipulators, and narcissists. They psychologically eviscerate people they're with. But what the world can't see is what's hiding under the surface. They manipulate situations skillfully, using charm or guilt to get what they want. They don't like to admit mistakes, and they blame others as they deflect responsibility. They take advantage of others' kindness and trust, using them to fulfill their own desires without concern for others' well-being. To them, it's never about the damage they've caused. It's always about keeping up their image. They'll do anything to protect how they look, whereas for the rest of us, our roots go deep,
said Shruti. So what is the point of the Surface Circus?
When is an enchantment not enchanting? The silver siren promises so much, yet delivers so little. The Surface Circus sings her song, a pretty poison to the soul. Her false allure tempts the mind, even while the heart feels that something is not quite right. Your power will come from discerning the truth and allowing her false promises no place in your heart,
said Shruti. But this circus, it's so grand, and it does feel enchanting.
But there is no depth to the Surface Circus, and of course it appears that such a circus has a special teaching,
said Shruti. What is the purpose of the Surface Circus?
In the modern world, especially in the spiritual field, we find groups that are overloaded with false light. This is the light that binds and obscures rather than clarifies and reveals. False light is that which might seem dazzling on the surface, but underneath is nothing but hot air at its best, and destructive energy that will rot your soul at worst. False light is the opportunity so intoxicating that even selling your soul to have it seems rational, or the person so alluring that you are willing to deny your basic needs for respect and acknowledgement in order to spend even a moment by their side. The false light is a seduction, a siren song, a promise of whatever it is you feel you cannot have unless you compromise your integrity to get it. There is just one lesson through the Surface Circus and its siren song. The same lesson as always. No matter what the circumstances may be, if you compromise your integrity, you will find that what you have obtained was not worth the price you paid for it. no matter how much you believe it to be otherwise,
said Shruti. Have you ever been to the circus? Last time my grandpa took me, but there was no parking, so we went home. Oh Lord, I was excited to see a real circus. And so Sir Beast went right in. I hesitated at the entrance to the tent because there were so many solo performers all around. This was a circus, but where was the crowd? That's when I noticed the performers posed and acted for cameras and social content. Within one look inside the circus tent, I understood what the siren song was all about. Each person's ego shouted for attention as they tried to get famous. Some took off their clothes, others stripped to seduce men, and so often these performers would whisper, "I love you," to their partners, and then lie behind their backs. These performers were after likes, fame, and social followers, and their content made them appear like experts. But the surface circus never shared how their hidden intention was to get their own rewards. The surface circus was filled with people who pose in front of mirrors and take nude or semi-nude photos of their body. They are obsessed with the outer layers, which they promote online to increase their social popularity. The circus is filled with individuals who would do anything for fame and attention. They'd manipulate friends or lovers so that they alone could prosper. Anything for their own dreams so that they could fulfill their personal desires. They'd use a person until they had no juice. Then they'd sleep beside their next partner and whisper about a united future, all while planning a breakup as they planned for their future partner. It was all a performance. They were obsessed with getting more followers. And these performers, obsessed with their image, they'd dye their hair and alter their bodies. Oh, they were willing to toss their relationships out like garbage and abandon anyone if it meant they had a better chance of being a famous somebody. Oh, the surface circus is bizarre, and it was filled with manipulators and liars. This was the false light that would draw the opposite sex in by acting and pretending. Then after the arousal, the performers would mislead them and take their money. Not just strippers, but even the fitness and so-called teachers wanted fame more than they wanted to guide. Oh, they'd keep a little twinkle in their eye while they weave words with lies so their hidden intentions were disguised. They'd promise a united future only to throw you out and then start messaging their potential lineup of mates. Oh, in the surface circus, everyone had all sorts of dating options lined up before anyone even broke up. These were the folks in relationships who texted prospective partners in an effort to lure them in, not holding love for the current relationship, but rather they were always trying to manipulate the odds in their favor so they could level up. Oh, the whole circus was insane, and all these phony performers were fueled by the dreams of the things they alone would gain. Oh, the performers of the surface circus hid behind their lies as they escaped to exotic islands. They try to outrun their karma from town to town, not realizing it always follows them. Oh, life on the surface circus is wild, and I do not find myself called into your tent. My intuition feels, and I don't believe I can trust anyone. As you persuade with the false light, you push away that which is dark. But like a shadow, duality follows, and it clouds the pure love within your very heart. It is clear that the people in the tent are skillful performers, but they have yet to go beyond opposites. Obsessed with their outer layers, they pass up the opportunity to be in service of the divine. O poor surface circus, your acts and content do not go beyond time. All bodies pass their prime, but in the surface circus, it's all about personal dreams. Achieve your goals, even if you have to abandon those who supported you all the way. Oh, the surface circus isn't for me.
This is the strange way of the world. And the people who simply want real love are instead forced to become warriors. Come on, get in there,
said Shruti, and so Sir Beast convinced me that we must go in. When we got to the great tent, there were many solo performers all around. This was a circus, but where was the crowd? Then I noticed two women performing in front of a camera on a stand. One appeared mostly naked, while both were barely clothed. They were recording reels as they grinded their hips upon the back of a sea turtle, while water splashed over as the camera captured. "Are you sure this is the way to become more feminine?" asked the good geisha. "Sex sells. We'll get more followers the more revealing our clothes are, so we've got to make it provocative and sexy. We'll get even more views so we can get famous," said the dark-haired girl. "And when I post it, I've got 6 other accounts, so I'll like it with all those right away. That way it'll get noticed and maybe go viral," said the good geisha. Now the dark-haired girl was quite familiar with this, and there I noticed a stripper pole nearby. I didn't assume, but rather I stayed curious if that was her job or a hobby. And as for the good geisha, my heart felt something like peace and relief. I adored this woman, not for her looks or content, but rather I could feel how she was my long-lost best friend. Sometimes we find things without needing to be told, and the moment I saw her, I knew we had a connection. But who gave her that mask to wear, as they made her out to be a geisha? Still, I couldn't look away from the whole performance of everyone, because I did not quite understand the meaning of this surface circus. There were performers everywhere, but I was only interested in this good geisha. I didn't understand why she was performing for the camera, or why her hair was dyed blonde, but I could feel that our souls had met long before this. Then the closer I got, like a magnet, she was attached to me. I don't know if it was love at first sight, but this was 2 souls in pure harmony. I couldn't detach after that, and I was hooked like a fish, or like a dog on a leash. I would do anything this good geisha wished. Meanwhile, her friend was off, and she said she was going back to work, but she was dressed like a stripper, and that's when I remembered this circus was on the surface. "Why do you dye your hair? I think it would look even better natural," I asked the good geisha. "Oh, really? I've been curious about that. Maybe in time, I'll stop paying for these highlights," she said. From that moment on, we fostered a heart connection when she told me about her dreams, when I believed she was going to reach them. This woman had so much potential to help the world, and I knew she could relieve so much suffering. She spoke of her path and how she was a yoga teacher. Harmony wasn't something we had to work on, because from the moment our eyes first met, we were in this together. In that instant, it felt like I could see our future. I didn't even understand such a magnetic pull, and so words and ideas fell short. It was as if the divine had placed us together. Now the longer we hung out, it seemed no one else understood our connection, but rather, many of her friends and performers upon the surface would secretly whisper about their objections. That's when the stripper came back, and she had flowers and leftovers from a great meal in her hand. "Is that from your boyfriend?" I asked her. "My boyfriend lives hours away up in the mountains," she said. "So who took you to dinner and gave you the flowers?" This time she didn't respond. These performers had so much potential, but what were they doing up here on the surface? It seemed the circus would draw people in with the promise of false light so that the performers could benefit. Why, up on the surface circus, everything was a performance. This was the place where people created an online persona in hopes they'd get famous. As I started my time in the surface circus, I had to find a job to pay rent, and so I took my clothes off and put a black apron over my naked waist. I'd go from group to group and serve drinks while they looked at my ass. It was slightly liberating to walk around without clothes, but I knew I'd never last. That's when I remembered I had keys to my mind, and so I found the one that was called truth. As I pressed this key into my brain, I realized this whole circus was an illusion that could be seen through. Now, the more I spoke of the truth around the surface circus, the more they didn't like what I had to say. Why, everyone wanted the pleasant illusions of fame and popularity, and not many wanted to hear about the value of humility and authenticity. But rather, these performers were willing to do anything for fame. Oh, it was so sad. And I'd whisper about how the path of yoga was actually the way of reunion with God, which was centered around the beauty of their individual body. But the real point of yoga is not the outer layers. Rather, yoga is concerned with a true connection into divinity. So many performers used ancient practices like yoga, and they'd advise and preach. Was it about real healing, or was it about improving their own beautiful image? They'd make content about how to make a yoga mudra and tell their followers to sit with it for 15 minutes. But that's when I had realized the advice they were giving was not something they did in the time of stillness. So much of the focus was on gaining more and more. And who could sit still here? Because there was always more content to churn out virtually. They'd pose in exotic forests with their ass out in a bathing suit, so all their followers could tune into the superficial aspects of reality, while the performers increased their own popularity. Next, I saw how the performers used artificial intelligence and other effects to adjust their content and images. This was a false light to lure followers in, and by enhancing their surface beauty, they promoted that false light, which made the opposite sex crave them. Oh, then one of the performers was tanner than everyone, and she tanned and tanned over and over to increase her glow, but I feared the day her skin would get cancer. Then another performer was upset because her car had broken down, and so she called her father and began to complain to him. Within moments, Daddy wired her more money than she even required, so she wouldn't need to face any of her real problems. But this process only created a loop, because next she needed more supplies for her kitchen, and so she called Daddy again and complained to him. Then, before long, all sorts of supplies was delivered because Daddy didn't want his princess to have to deal with any negative emotions. Oh, but the complaining continued, and it seemed that now anytime something went wrong, complaining was the way to fix it. Meanwhile, I started to fear that I was not cut out to exist in this surface circus. But with the truth in mind, why, I was here as well. I was doing the same things as all of them, and I had hidden motives just like the rest of them, as I would like my life to be easy and prosperous as well. Why, I have talents to sell, and I like when people admire me, and so I tried to speak the truth on my social channels, but no one seemed to like the truth stories because it distorted the phony realities. Now, since I was nearly naked, it seemed to entice many of the solo performers, and as I grew curious about dating, I started to realize that so many of the people here had all cheated on their previous partners. Oh, on the surface circus, cheating on partners didn't seem to be an issue. As long as the individual benefited and it stayed silent, it barely mattered who was committed to who. So many of these people were in relationships while they had a line of other dating prospects. And even while they were dating someone, they DM and text other people with secretive messages to keep them close. And if you caught them, they'd explain they were seeking business opportunities with a nearby apartment complex. but who knows what they were up to in secret? Oh, and then there is gaslighting. In the Surface Circus, the performers are experts in psychological manipulation. They deny events and conversations that happened, making you question everything. It's a tactic used to gain power and control over someone by leading them into a confused state of mind. They'll twist the past and make the victim feel at fault, even when the situation is a result of the abuser's own actions. Then rather than take responsibility, the abuser will change the narrative. By distorting reality, this is an emotional abuse that is a constant occurrence on the Surface Circus. From there, many of the performers used online personas to form posts and reels to trigger those they hurt by spreading more superficial content. Before I turned my back to the Surface Circus, I put my hands together in prayer and spoke to the wind in hopes the message would get through to them. Will you love the divine enough to honor what seeks to be expressed through you? Will you honor humility of what is true to our soul, rather than the egoic desire for perfection, recognition, and approval? Now Shruti whispered,
You will be so glad you never settled for less.
How do you make sense of all the chaos and shallow behavior in the spiritual Surface Circus?
Let them go. Not because you're bitter, but because God knows what you don't. God heard the words said behind closed doors and feels the truest intentions behind everyone's actions. You are not losing anything meant for you. What feels like rejection is divine protection. Trust that when something leaves your life, it's because God is making space for something honest, safe, and true.
But I feel that I love someone in there. I can feel it, and I know it's true.
To really know someone, don't look at how many times they say I love you. Look at how they leave you. Anyone can say sweet things when they want to keep you, but what happens at the end? That's when the mask slips, when the illusion fades. How someone handles your heart once they no longer benefit from it says everything you need to know about them,
said Shruti. But I care so deeply. Surely the performers in the Surface Circus care too.
If a person truly cares about you, it would break their heart knowing how bad they really hurt you. People make mistakes, but when you tell them they hurt you, and they respond by gaslighting, deflecting, lying, or manipulating, that's not love. That's ego, no matter how spiritual they claim to be. They are more concerned with being criticized, judged, and looking bad because the truth threatens their illusions that they have of their own self-image, which is the most important thing in the Surface Circus. That's why all the performers get defensive, because they cling to their spotlights, said
Shruti. Then what is it all about?
Life is not about being rich, popular, being highly educated, or appearing in the spotlight. It's about being real, being humble, and being kind,
said Shruti. But the circus, what is its true purpose?
At first, the circus was based on real merit, back when there wasn't technology. But now anyone can take off their clothes or seduce you virtually. The Surface Circus is driven by the need for attention and the fear of abandonment, making all the performers easy targets for narcissists and manipulators. This cycle continues until a breaking point, where betrayal or emotional abuse shatters them entirely. If this happens, such a destruction can lead to a great transformation. They will then leave the Surface Circus and choose to go deeper, where they rebuild their lives with self-respect, emotional intelligence, and boundaries. No longer naive, they become empowered and intentional. From their pain, they understand true compassion, but are no longer exploitable. Such a person does not lose their empathy. they learn how to wield it,
said Shruti. So can the Surface Circus direct people to the goal and purpose of our life?
The great goal is reunion with God, which is the aim of all religions, and so it is called yoga, the science of self-realization, which is the discovery of the spirit within all of us. To join with the divine cannot be accomplished on the surface, but it happens deep within. Even to describe this union with words is impossible. God is beyond form, name, and time. There is but one way, and we must go deeper if we wish to discover the truth about the divine,
said Shruti. And if I walk away from the Surface Circus, then what will happen?
You are about to receive the most breathtaking miracle of your lifetime. You're about to meet the answer to why your heart had to hold so much courage, love, kindness, and hope. You're about to experience the rare, unmatched beauty of a sacred shift. Just watch. One day, very soon, life will unfold anew. Your path is about to turn for the greater good of your destiny. Your recent strength is about to pay off in the most profound and joyous way. Get ready now,
said Shruti. I want to go deeper, I told the good geisha. Come with me and let's escape this Surface Circus. I know we can do great things together. You're meant for so much more than this circus. Don't get pulled into the false light of it, I told the good geisha. I want to go with you, but I also have so much going on. And in only a little while, crowds are going to appear. And once the world sees me, I'll have a chance to achieve my wildest dreams. And I'll be able to live with so much success in my business. Then I'll take people on retreats all over the world, and I'll teach them yoga. I've grown my business from nothing, and now it's become my passion and purpose, said the good geisha. Then I want to help you, and I'll do whatever I can to support your dreams. But please, just for a little bit, let's leave the Surface Circus. Now I knew this trip under the surface would be something like journeying to India. It would change us forever, and so this deeper dive would be like a great spiritual pilgrimage. I ran to Sir Beast, who rather suddenly had become extremely famous in the Surface Circus. Not only that, but within a very short amount of time, there were incredible feats of service he went on to accomplish. He raised $20 million to plant 20 million trees, and he removed 30 million pounds of trash from the ocean, helped 2,000 people walk again. He helped 1,000 blind people see, helped 1,000 deaf people hear, built wells in Africa, gave away 100 houses, adopted every dog in a shelter twice, gave millions to charity, started his own snack company, started his own software company, started a tasty and better for you lunch option, gave away a private island twice, gave 1 million meals away. He gave 5 million to one person. It was absolutely insane. And he did this through free programming on social channels like YouTube. From there, he got subscribers in the multi-millions. As people followed him, they loved him. And so I turned over and asked him, "What do you make of this circus?" "I see witches," said Sir Beast. "What do you think of when you first hear the word witches? Who's to say if witches are good or bad? What would happen if we didn't label them as good or evil right away? Can you allow the mind to move beyond opposites? Now the same goes for politicians and even drug users. What if underneath our bodies is the soul from the essence and source of creation? A moment later, I watched my awareness take one of the golden keys and press it into my brain. Yes, we have the power to control our awareness and even our ideas of what might be bad, which can be reframed. Were these witches wicked, or were they kind women? Time would tell. But before we label them one way or the other, we can move beyond opposites if we have the keys to our very own mind,
You're getting better, because all souls are like the rest of us.
said Shruti. Once I heard that a good witch is a girl who knows how to heal with the power of spells, but a bad witch is a bitch whose mind is trapped in hell, said Sir Beast. Again birds flew over when witches descended upon the ground and disappeared over a nearby mound, not far from us, and I imagined these witches did not want to be found. As we looked to where they had gone, they seemed to tunnel underground. Yes, this is what I'm talking about. We need to go deeper and see what we can find. That's the real treasure of spirituality. It's an inner journey. Real transformation has little to do with the surface circus. Now what should we do?
Go on and pick your wife accordingly,
said Shruti. After such a long journey into the center of ourselves, there comes a time to fall deeply in love and meet sweet harmony. Oh, having a wife sounds rather lovely. With the keys to the mind in hand, I tried yet another golden key. This gold keyring had many options, which allowed me to peek through many different possible realities. First, I considered what a good wife would look like, and there I saw a kind woman with an open heart. Then I tried another key to see what a bad wife might be up to, and there I saw a bad bitch who manipulates communication and passive-aggressively pushes relationships apart. I tried another key again and saw how a good wife supports the journey to find the divine. And then another key revealed a bad bitch thinks it's only about her and the goals in her own mind. A good wife is open to infinite possibilities, but an immature witch is only thinking about her personal interests. Yet as I considered this, I tried the last key, which was a mix of all the metals, and this was the key that could lead beyond opposites. Here I saw that no woman would ever be flawless, but in the imperfection, there was a way to appreciate the spiritual perfection within us. Within was the soul, and we were all like mirror reflections, creating projections based upon our own thinking. The good versus bad were just preferences and labels, but beyond opposites, all you could think about was the greatness and pure potential that lives within all women. But the love I really want is when our souls are not separate, but rather when we're united together as one.
Now both of you gentlemen, comb your hair and grab some flowers. You better not go in there empty-handed. Make sure you pick a good wife as your partner. Otherwise, a chick will take you for granted,
said Shruti. With newfound excitement, we cleaned ourselves up the best we could and put the keys to our mind in our pockets. We all agreed that we wanted a closer look to see what was going on underneath the surface. And if anything went wrong, we'd just explain that we were performers in the surface circus. I grabbed the good geisha's hand and followed Mr. Beast when we arrived at the entrance to the cavern. We found a cute young woman in a trance upon a crystal ball. "What are you looking at?" asked Sir Beast. "The future," said the young witch. This young girl had wings on her back. "And who are you?" asked Sir Beast. "I'm Flora Fairy. What about you?" said the young witch. "I'm Sir Beast, and this is my buddy Surya and the good geisha," he said. "Nice to meet you. And what's going on in there?" I pointed down the passage, which was labeled with a large sign. "No boys allowed in. Men will be eaten by the dragon." I'm supposed to be on guard, but cute boys don't come around here often. "Do you want me to show you around the inner depths of our cavern?" said Flora Fairy. I tugged at Sir Beast to re-examine the sign, but his eyes were locked onto the fairy, and I could tell he thought she was really fine. "Well, what's the worst that could happen?" "Sure, why not?" said Sir Beast. But this sign! Men aren't allowed in. Oh, don't mind the sign. We put it there to scare fuckboys away, so they don't find us here. Old Nastia keeps teaching us that the strongest power involves a bit of fear, said the fairy. Do you think that's true? Asked Sir Beast. I think the strongest power involves love, she said. Oh, how so? He asked. Now the little fairy began to glow bright when her smile turned wide. I think sex is the most powerful. After all, only sex can birth a child. Now what about you? What do you think? The fairy giggled when her wings started to flutter. What's the most powerful force in the entire universe? She asked. And so the good geisha jumped in. I think it's being of service to others, said the good geisha. I think that God is most powerful. And when I say God, I mean creation. And creation is the universe. So when I think of it, we are the most powerful force in nature, but only when we remember that we are all together. Well, duh. But what about emotion? Said the fairy. I paused. I like what the geisha said, to turn our hearts to God through service, sacrifice, and devotion. Not my favorite answer, said the fairy. And what about you? What do you think, Sir Beast? I think it's love that we're after, he said. The fairy turned around in shock when her crystal ball almost dropped. Flora Fairy ran and hugged him when all of us stopped. Aw, I love love, and I want to show you my room. Come on, follow me, and I'll show you around, said the fairy. Only after we traversed down the passage did we discover how these witches created a small commune in a cave of their own. Along the walkway, we found silk, candles, bright colors, a space for broomsticks, and it was all neatly organized before it opened into a central space with a giant cauldron in the heart of the room. Now I should warn you about this cavern. It does have some mystical attributes. The deeper you go, the more stuff on the surface you'll come to lose, said the fairy. What do you mean? I have a business and a life on the surface, said the good geisha. Well, when we go on the inner journey, we are seeking only what is truly needed. And so whatever isn't required on the surface will start to be shed and released, she said. Why? Because all the surface stuff is like a cover, and it's not going to last anyway. If you go deeper into the soul of creation, only the purest things will remain. And of course, we're all still on the path, because no one knows what to do with that mean old dragon, said the fairy. A dragon? Really? Meanwhile, I glanced over and saw that the fairy had taken hold of Sir Beast's hand as she tugged him along. We were in shock of all these witches below, while the fairy wouldn't let go of my new best friend. He even tried to shake her off when she started to latch onto his side as if she were a spider. This way, take me there, the fairy pointed. Sir Beast was stuck when the fairy jumped off him and yanked him over to a tiny cave on the left side of the grand cavern. Along the way, I saw small artist statues of dwarfs, goblins, and gnomes carved out of wood that stood in front of their own tiny tree homes on display. Mushrooms sprouted up on the walls beside an electric string of lights around the fairy's front door. Her room opened when a cat jumped off the bed. Oh, it's great to bring a boy home. Come in, said the fairy. The ceiling was covered with silk and colorful tapestries. On one side, she even had a grand vision board. The cat looked like it might bite us, and there were potion bottles that couldn't be ignored. Wow, I really love what you've done with the place, said Sir Beast. Really? Do you want to play arts and witchcraft? Said the fairy. She tried to yank him on the bed, but Sir Beast was like a stone. Now the fairy leapt up and hugged him, while she clung to his skin and bones. You smell so good. Where are you from again? She asked. Oh, we just came out from a different dark cavern, said Sir Beast. That's so silly, because I asked my crystal ball about my next boyfriend, and I saw someone walk out of a cave, but I didn't know you were him, said the fairy. Well, this is moving extremely fast. Say, didn't we leave something back at the other cave's entrance? Said Sir Beast. Just then, a woman's voice rang out over the loudspeakers. Red alert, male intruders, said a witchy voice. Oh, come on, you've got to meet the rest of my friends. This will be so fun, said the fairy. Just as she jumped off the bed to open the door, there we saw the tall dark witch waiting on the other side. All at once the fairy's wings drooped as if she'd lost all her pride. Hello, Anastasia, she said. That's Queen Anastasia to you. What are boys doing in here? Asked the queen. Oh, the fairy paused and turned around as if she was surprised to see us there. Well, you know how I was on guard duty? And I know I'm not supposed to let them in, but meet my new boyfriend. The queen was less than impressed, and now more witches began to pile up outside of her room. Hello, Miss Queen. We don't mean to be a bother. We were just leaving. Did you just say miss? Did you infer that I'm not married? She asked. I mean, Mrs. Queen. My last husband is dead, she said. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I ate his heart when he was still breathing. He died screaming, she said. Oh, this could be one of those bad witches, but I still tried not to judge this bitch. Instead, I smiled as I did my very best to move beyond opposites. Not so fast. Bring them to my cauldron, said the queen. The witches circled us before we descended to the shared space with the big cauldron when I saw the queen's throne. I've been doing this shit for far too long to trust just anyone, and it's rare we meet dependable men. Let's see what their potential is like. Chain them, said the queen. I looked to Sir Beast while he looked up to his new girlfriend as he whispered in desperation, Help us! Oh, don't worry. Handcuffs are fun. Did you know I'm a kinky one? Said the fairy. We were in shock. Then the next thing I knew, I swear I saw a human femur bone floating in the cauldron stew. There was no telling what these witches would do. Who is this witch? I whispered to Sir Beast, but the fairy heard me. You mean Queen Anastasia? She's our fearless leader. She has a diverse skill set, but sometimes people call her a chaos killer, said the fairy. I gulped and stared around the room. What the hell had we gotten ourselves into? What do you have to say for yourselves? Asked the queen. And so the good geisha jumped in. I'll go first. I'm a yoga teacher upon the earth's surface. I come in peace and service. And the reason we are this deep is because we seek the deeper teachings, she said. You think you're ready for the deeper teachings, said the queen. Of course, she said. Then are you prepared to let go of everything that no longer serves you? Can you give up your attachment, your clinging, your preferences, your performances? Because once you go deeper, it means you won't fit in with the surface circus, asked the queen. A moment later, the good geisha's phone buzzed, and it was a message that one of the yoga studios she taught at canceled a bunch of her classes. Then right after that, the blonde in her hair disappeared, and now her hair was natural. Yes, you see, the shedding of all that is false is happening, said the queen. But why? Asked the good geisha, as her outer layer started to dissolve. To awaken is to die to everything that is false in you, she said. But my classes, you can't take those away from me, because that's my livelihood and business. That studio I teach at is filled with so many of my students, said the good geisha. But that studio that just canceled your classes isn't mindful yoga. Rather, it's all about fitness. They don't allow you to chant or speak of God, and that's one of the issues with being in the Surface Circus, said the Queen. But I have so many students on the surface. I'm helping people with yoga. Plus, the work I do is part of a very successful business, she said. The deeper you go and the longer you stay, the more everything that is false on the surface will dissolve away. And if you remain in the depths long enough, what you will have found is the divine pathway. Either buckle in now or get back up to the surface, said the Queen. I don't want to be in this nasty place, chained in these depths. I want to be somewhere beautiful in a jungle, near an ocean, where I can see and feel the Great Spirit, said the good geisha. When you go deeper, you are deeper into the Spirit. Yet if you prefer a pleasant illusion, then you can be enchanted by the siren song of false light upon the surface. Fine, I'll release you if you wish to go back to the Surface Circus, said the Queen. And so they turned to release her when I ran over to the good geisha. By now, her outer layer had dissolved when I saw the pure beauty and divinity there beneath her performance layers. She was no longer a geisha, but I saw her soul as a beautiful flower. She was so pure and had been misguided on the surface, and I knew this woman was my true lover, who was in service of our world. I knew that in time, if we remained in these depths together, all of us could bloom like lotuses upon the earth, and so I spoke to her. Let us stay in the depths, even though it's difficult. I'm so in love with you because I don't believe we're separate from one another. When I look at you, I see our soul, and I'll do anything to keep our two halves together. No matter how long it takes, no matter what I must do, or even if I make mistakes, I am committed and loyal to you. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And if that's not what you hope for, I'm also open to the infinite. If you need space to live without me, just say the word and I'll plan my own future accordingly. I know that in my heart, you are all that I seek, and there is nothing we cannot surpass. Give me a chance to be with you, and I'll do whatever it takes to keep my heart open. I believe we are soulmates, and our connection is made to last, I told her. But I can't stay in this deep cavern. I have to get back up to what I know. My schedule is packed with classes, and I cannot miss any more work, said her beautiful soul. Then since I love you so much, I am also willing to let you go. But because we've made this journey together, will you wait for me on the surface? I'll only be down here for 3 more weeks at most, in these depths. Then I'll come back for you, and we can plan our future together. But if you stay apart from me for 3 weeks, you'll miss my friend's wedding, she said. Oh goodness, I know that most boyfriends would make that a priority, but in my heart, my soul cannot pass up on this once-in-a-lifetime spiritual pilgrimage. I feel that I won't be the best version of myself until I get through these depths. I will shed all that is false within me, and when we reunite, my soul will be an embodiment of the purest love, I told her. And so she said, then about our future, why wait? We can plan our future now. I plan to visit Thailand this winter, and how about you come visit me on your birthday? Then after that, you can help me lead a retreat in Guatemala, and you can even help me decide which dates are most convenient. After that, what if we spend 1 month in New York for the summer? Said her pure soul. I'm in, and I'm so in love with you. I never thought I'd travel that much, but if that's what love is all about, then I'll do anything for you. We are powerful beyond measure, and I love that we are united together. I will be loyal to you always, because you are my one and only lover. After that, her pure soul turned and went back to her life upon the surface. It would be hard to remain physically separated for the next few weeks, but I felt unstoppable because we had made a lover's promise. Next, Sir Beast jumped in with his response to the Queen. Well, first of all, we mean no harm and we are fellow explorers. We come from a cavern not far from here, and we saw you as birds before you descended down on your broomsticks. We come in peace, and we wanted to say hello to our new neighbors, said Sir Beast. Is she your girlfriend? Asked the Queen. Now the fairy lit up when she appeared giddy as a kid. Yep, that's her. My one and only, my sweetie pie, said Sir Beast. The Queen winked at the fairy, then said, He's yours. You're free to go. Oh, wow. So maybe this isn't all so bad. I sighed a deep breath out when I felt my shoulders relax. And you? What are you doing here? She asked me. I'm with him, and I agree with everything he said. But since you don't have a girlfriend in these depths, no boys are allowed. You must have a partner down in our caverns. So tell us, what is your deepest purpose? Said the Queen. I have already found my lover and soulmate, and I wish to shed all that is not true. And the reason I'm here is because I want to go deeper and find God. Deeper to find God? Are you aware of what lives all the way under? She said. I don't know, but I want to learn the pure teachings because there are demon heads that threaten our world. If we don't help humanity, I fear what will become of the earth. She looked at me before she revealed the gem from her pocket. Next she whispered to the stone, then held it up to her ear and nodded. But why do you have two faces? Asked the Queen. But no need to be afraid. I'm as gentle as a dove. That's not what my mystical stone says. My crystal says you are possessed by a celestial woman. And so, my dear sister, welcome, said the Queen. Groans echoed through the entire cavern hall when the cauldron let out a big bubble of disgust. I couldn't believe it either. But you, sir, are you an alien? Is this some sort of spell from a mad magician? She asked. I'm telling you the truth. It's hard to remember what all happened. But if we don't help the world, then everyone is on their way to becoming mad and aggressive. Meanwhile, the fairy had taken Sir Beast off to a room. Alone and ambushed, the entire cavern began to feel like a tomb.
Give everything up. Give all you have away,
whispered Shruti through my mind. But why? I wondered in silence.
Because if you want to go all the way, then you'll have to sacrifice it all. Hold nothing back, because it's the only way you'll survive if you go any deeper. Plus, if you stay much longer, they'll either banish you to the surface, or they'll take everything from you. And it's better to make an offering to them than to have them confiscate what's left. Either give it up, or walk right into our death,
Shruti expressed. As I looked to the Queen, it was almost like I could hear her thinking. Then right before she opened her mouth, I saw what she was about to say, as if she was ready to express, throw him back up to the surface. Wait, I have an offering. I want to go deeper, and I haven't come empty-handed. And so I want to give you the last thing I have. Here is a heartfelt present. The Queen's face relaxed when all the girls responded with warm curiosity. They were so intrigued, as they no longer saw me as a threat or enemy. My hand reached into my pocket when I felt the only thing I had left, which the great spiritual being had given to me. Why, that great being had taken me upon a journey to find these, and so I held up the gold keys. Keys? Asked the Queen. This was the first time I'd really studied them, and I counted about 28 keys on a large ring. Each gold key seemed to represent different ways in which a human mind could think or imagine. Now what were these? My emotions? Or were these my motivations and inspirations? I'd only just found these keys a little while ago, as I turned in a circle before I saw the most humble woman. There were many witches here, and on the outside, these women were all beautiful in their own right. But I had to find someone I could trust, and not be distracted by an appearance that seduced my sight. This humble woman was different, and she had a secret deep within. Her outward appearance was earthy, but it barely mattered because I was so curious about what was underneath her surface. From the looks of it, these women only highlighted the depths of their individuality. They didn't follow the ways of the surface circus, but rather their lives were dedicated to the true depths of spirituality. Oh, this had to be her, with baggy clothes and disheveled hair. Her complexion was fair and natural when her eyes caught mine, as I knew she was deeply aware. This humble woman was seated in the back, with her legs crossed upon the ground, but I couldn't tell whether she was for or against me. All it took was a single glance before I realized that this woman needed so little in the material world, and so I felt that out of all the witches here, I could trust her with these golden keys. You there, take these. I held the keys up and motioned for her in case she hadn't heard me. Who does this man think he is when he enters without permission, yet claims to be bringing me an offering only to give it to a different woman? Now what is your purpose, boy? Were you sent here on a mission? Asked the queen. I was so overwhelmed by this situation that the keys began to shake. Too stunned to speak when the queen interjected. Either you speak up or get to the surface. I'll feed you to the dragon if you're not careful, said the queen. Wait, I have a purpose. I am part of a great mission. Go on, we're listening, said the queen. It's called Fruition. Now the woman who wore the humble clothes stood up and walked towards me. She took hold of my offering as I watched her count the 28 golden keys. Did you know we are also upon a great mission? But unfortunately, for the men of the material world, boys like you refuse to listen. We do what we must, with whatever we find, and so we'll introduce you to the dragon, who will reveal if your fate is filled with disaster or fortune. And so I wonder, will you live or will you die? Know that our motivation is simple, and we aren't trying to kill anyone, but rather we are curious about justice, and so we have our ways of discovering what lives within, said the queen. Each time this humble woman touched one of the many golden keys, I felt my brain switch modes of thinking. One moment I felt terror, then the next it was a big joke as I began to laugh. After that I cried with compassion, then I knelt down in prayer. Oh, each key unlocked a portal into my brain as I was hypersensitive of what came to pass. Did this woman have any idea what those keys were about? Or was she just trying to make sense of the man with his face split in two? Oh Nandi, Kundalini, and Shruti, you've got to help me. Tell me what to do. Come on, ladies, escort him to the dragon, said the queen. Why would we give the keys away?
Give it all away, and it will all come back to you,
said Nandi. The witches pulled my chains to the far door, which was made for a giant size. I could hear an enormous creature asleep, and so I knew there had to be a terrible monster on the other side.
In all my years of service, in all the years I never left your side, and in all the years I've waited for you, I've given up all my material things, even after you lost your last life. There's no sense in trying to hang on to what was given to you, no sense in trying to prove you're right. It took me all this time to realize we are being led by the divine. And what does it matter if you offer away the keys to your mind? Even if material stuff was stolen, or you lost your mind, I hope you never ever feel what it's like to lose your other half, because I already lost you once, and my heart shattered from what happened last time. As long as we don't quit, then we'll find what our soul is meant to discover. I'd rather give everything up and have you than keep material junk and lose my long-lost brother. As long as you don't let them tear us apart, then we'll never be separated from one another,
said Nandi. I could feel my mind crack when my emotional state dropped me onto my knees. It felt as if I'd lost everything in the world, but still, I hadn't lost my soul, and so I carried the spirit of Nandi, Kundalini, and Shruti. As I gazed up at the humble woman, her hand held the keys when I muttered one last plea. Help me. Next, 2 other witches pulled me away from the humble woman, and that's when I realized that at least half of these chicks were likely total bitches. I could have already guessed the cruel ones were named Evelina, Mina, Nastina, and Uglina. But hate and fear wasn't going to get us anywhere in this dark place. I bet all these witches were run out of town because these feminists all hated men. I didn't even need them to admit it, because in their eyes, to them, I appeared as an evil villain. Well, fine. If the world wants to blame everyone else but themselves, then I guess I'll have to be their villain. In that moment, I felt like a dog tied to a post and my owner had gone astray. Panic overwhelmed my body as I remained chained deep within the witch's cave. Oh, everyone wants to blame someone else for the world's problems, and now I had to take up my responsibility. Go ahead. If you want to hate all men, then come on, blame me instead. Once I accepted that I was guilty, I had to realize it was also I who had committed every crime. I had to accept that I was the real beast, the demon, and the one responsible for the world's pain and suffering. But to my surprise, even as I was overwhelmed with fear inside, my heart began to shine. My body felt so gentle and full of light, when I couldn't tell if this was empathy or if this was contentment, because I no longer cared about what would come to happen. Oh, maybe I had begun to move beyond opposites. Yes, now I truly care. And my heart began to glow so bright when even the queen and her band of witches became aware. You think you're a magician? You won't outlast our dragon, said the queen. Something about accepting the inevitable allowed me to move forward with grace. I felt such appreciation for each step forward as I walked deeper into the dragon's lair because there was nowhere left to escape. Oh, I felt such wisdom to surrender, even to such a hopeless fate. Rather than obsess on who did what and how these witches were all wrong, I didn't want to waste another precious moment of my life, and so I indulged in the divine action of appreciation. I went on to appreciate each tiny mushroom that sprouted on the cavern walls. I appreciated every tiny rock underneath my feet. How lucky was I to find myself in the land of the living. Oh, I'm sure someday soon I'll miss this place. I went on to appreciate the chains that pulled me down, while the witches pushed me ahead into the entrance of the dragon's deep dark cavern. Why, all these chains reminded me of an old temple I missed so badly, and it took similar chains to find the grace which allowed me to escape. And were these chains imaginary or real ones? But what did it matter? Freedom is a state of being at peace within this very moment, and love is a universal language. Before he goes in, take whatever is left on him, said one of the witches. They stripped me down when they took my clothes until I stood in my underwear. But what did I care? They couldn't take my soul from me, and all I was left with was the love in my heart that glowed for our divine mother and father.
Let them do whatever they want. We are always at home with the divine. Let us move forward without fear, because our motive and intention is pure. That is why our heart shines,
said Nandi. Of course we gave it all away, and this time I didn't even need anything to come back. I turned to face the giant door ahead when I showed the witches my back. As the giant door opened, I saw a dragon, no different than the one described in Revelations. It had many heads, and I knew what it was thinking.
Eat him.
I pictured the mind of the dragon. Any last words, said the queen. I love everybody. I love everyone unconditionally. Well, he's onto something. Let's see what the dragon responds to his equanimity. Don't worry, kiddo. I'm rooting for you, so you overcome this great difficulty, said the queen. Was she serious, or was she trying to be mean? Then as the dragon stepped forward, the entire cavern began to shake, and so it sent a ripple effect out into the world when the earth began to quake. Other than the heavy breath of the dragon, it was silent except for the noise of my limbs quivering. But then in the distance, I heard a humble witch whispering. Yes, I heard her move the golden keys around in her fingers, and it felt like each hand went in search of something hidden in my mind, as if she'd been turning pages in a book. After she touched any given key, I felt her explore the realms hidden inside. What was she doing in my head? Was this the humble woman's farewell? I felt my brainwaves tweak when she removed a single key from the keyring, before I heard that humble woman cast a divine spell. As if she spoke to me alone, she whispered to the keyring when I felt her aura come out from within my pores. The spell was so loud and clear in my own thoughts when she sent a direct command I could not ignore. Reveal the truth. Reveal that which is hidden on the inside of you, said the humble woman. My form began to twitch when my heart started to expand. Whoever I was deep within was far more than a simple human man. We were souls from God, or a gift from the Divine Mother. Now my body grew 28 times its size when I suspected the queen realized she'd made an error. My life was a fire, and pure light emerged. The soul was a spark of eternity, and now the dragon loved what it saw. As I shined through the cavern, the dragon was enamored. Then I realized the great spiritual being must have kept a key to my mind for itself when I heard her whisper,
Behold, our true nature.
What has happened?
I had to lead you here one way or another. Meet my friend, the dragon, who is our great and grand mother,
said Shruti. Now the dragon grew sweet, and I even saw her blush. The multi-headed dragon crept forward to nuzzle her heads into my body as she began to rub her whiskers against me as a display of pure love. The dragon was attached as it clung to whatever I had become. Why, I didn't realize we could shrink to the size of an atom or grow 100 times the size of a regular old human. These witches brought forth the miraculous power from within me, and without their help, this miracle would have never been set free. What the hell just happened? Asked the queen. Looks like the dragon wants to be his girlfriend, said the humble woman.